Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the world of Lincoln Wheat pennies, the Washington quarter dollar coin, one of the most recognized coins in American pockets. While most people see it as just 25 cents, certain years and designs can actually be. The 1986 Washington quarter dollar is part of a long-standing series of coins that have played an essential role in the everyday economy of the United States. This coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint and carries the P Mint mark to indicate its origin, since the Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design has remained largely consistent up until the launch of the state quarters program in 1999. The 1986 quarter is a reflection of this consistent design period and represents both monetary utility and the symbolic heritage embedded in United States coinage. On the front of the coin, known as the obverse, is a left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This design by sculptor John Flanagan was adapted from a bust of Washington created by Jean-Antoine Houdon. Above the portrait is the word liberty, and to the left is the motto, "In God We Trust." The date 1986 is inscribed at the bottom of the obverse side. Just to the right of Washington's profile is the mint mark P, which signifies that the coin was struck in Philadelphia. This mint is known for producing billions of coins annually and plays a significant role in the distribution of U.S. circulating currency. The backside of the coin, known as the reverse, continues the traditional design used from 1930 to through 1998, before the state quarter program altered the reverse side with various state-specific themes. The 1986 quarter displays an American bald eagle standing with its wings spread wide. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, which are a traditional symbol of strength and readiness for defense. Beneath the arrows are two olive branches, which represent peace. The phrase "United States of America" arches across the top of the coin, with the Latin motto "E pluribus unum" just below it. At the bottom of the reverse is the denomination inscribed as quarter dollar. The composition of the 1986 Washington quarter is copper nickel-clad, meaning it is made of a core of pure copper and an outer layer of a copper and nickel alloy. This combination replaced the 90% silver composition that was standard before 1965. The change in materials was driven by rising silver prices and a need to reduce minting costs. This clad composition offers durability, which allows coins like the 1986 quarter to remain in circulation for many decades. The standard diameter of the coin is 24.6 millimeters, and it weighs approximately 5.67 grams. The edge of the coin is reeded with small grooves running vertically, which also help deter counterfeiting. The condition of the coin is described as circulated, which means it has been used in financial transactions and handled by the public over an extended period. As a result, the coin likely shows visible signs of wear. These signs may include the loss of sharp detail, especially in Washington's hair and facial features, as well as on the eagle's feathers on the reverse. The high points of the coin are typically the first to show signs of wear. In a circulated coin from 1986, the luster may have faded and there may be light scratches or marks from contact with other coins. Despite these cosmetic imperfections, the coin remains completely functional as legal tender. From a collector's point of view, a circulated 1986 quarter is generally considered a common coin and typically does not carry high numismatic value, unless it exhibits rare errors or is found in an unusually well-preserved state despite circulation. Some collectors, however, seek to gather complete sets of Washington quarters, including one from each mint for every year, which means a 1986 coin might still be an important piece in a broader collection. Additionally, coins that are found with die cracks, double dies, or off-center strikes may become much more valuable to collectors, even if they come from a year with high mintage. Speaking of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of Washington quarters in 1986. This large volume of production means that the 1986 quarter remains readily available in circulation today and is not considered rare. Its high survival rate contributes to its accessibility for collectors and the general public alike. However, its historical role and classic design still make it meaningful to those who value coins for more than just their market price. The Washington Quarter series holds a special place in American culture and history. Introduced during the Great Depression, the coin honored one of the nation's most iconic leaders and has since become a familiar object in the hands of millions of Americans. The design of the quarter helped solidify Washington's image in the minds of the public as a foundational figure in U.S. history. The consistency in the coin's design for more than 6 decades speaks to the enduring respect for Washington's legacy and the public's appreciation of the quarter's functionality and appearance. Coins like the 1986 B quarter are also interesting as historical markers. They serve as snapshots of the economic and cultural environment of the time in which they were minted. For instance, the mid-1980s were a period of technological advancement, economic growth, and a renewed sense of national identity following turbulent decades. The coins from this era were part of the everyday lives of citizens, buying goods, services, and passing from hand to hand as physical representations of value. Next up we have the 1951 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a notable coin in the long and widely collected Lincoln cent series. This coin was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark typically found beneath the date on the obverse side. The 1951 D penny was part of the United States Mint's regular coinage and saw extensive circulation throughout the early 1950s and beyond. The Lincoln cent series began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and continues to be a staple in American coinage. The Wheat penny design, used from 1909 through 1958, represents the first time a real person appeared on a regular issue United States coin, and it remains one of the most beloved designs among collectors and history enthusiasts. The obverse of the 1951 D penny features a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions of the word liberty to the left of Lincoln and the year 1951 to the right. Above Lincoln's head is the familiar motto, "In God We Trust." The D mint mark is located just beneath the date, signifying that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse side, the design showcases two stylized wheat stalks that frame the central inscriptions of 1 cent and United States of America. This design, often referred to as the wheat reverse or wheat ears design, also includes the Latin motto E pluribus unum along the top, translating to out of many one, which reflects the unity of the states forming the nation. The coin in question is described as having a red shade. This terminology is used in coin collecting to describe the original color of copper coins, which can range from red to brown depending on how much the copper has oxidized over time. A red shade indicates that the coin still retains much of its original mint luster and has not yet darkened significantly through oxidation or environmental exposure. This kind of coloration is often considered more desirable among collectors, especially when the red tone is vibrant and even. It reflects the fact that the coin may have been well preserved or only lightly handled since it was minted more than 70 years ago. Despite the presence of the red tone, the coin is still over 7 decades old, and its overall condition would need to be assessed to determine the extent of wear. If the coin has remained largely intact with minimal surface wear, clear details in the wheat stalks on the reverse, and sharp lines in Lincoln's hair and facial features, then it would fall within the higher end of circulated grades, such as very fine or extremely fine. Even so, the mere presence of a red tone, particularly in a circulated coin, adds to its appeal as it suggests some original mint characteristics have been preserved. The 1951 D penny was minted in large quantities, with over 625 million coins produced at the Denver Mint. Because of this high mintage, the coin is not rare in terms of availability, but it still has significant historical and educational value. For collectors, coins like the 1951 D provide a way to understand the history of American currency, economic conditions of the time, and the minting practices of the mid-20th century. During this era, the United States was undergoing post-war changes with economic expansion, the rise of suburban life, and the early tensions of the Cold War shaping the national landscape. Coins such as this one would have been used in everyday transactions, including buying newspapers, food items, and public transportation. While the coin's value in monetary terms may be modest due to its large mintage and common availability, the aesthetic aspect of its red shade can enhance its collectible value slightly. Collectors often pay close attention to color, luster, and eye appeal when assembling sets. A coin with a good red tone that also has minimal nicks or blemishes becomes more appealing in a collection that emphasizes visual quality. The copper composition of the 1951D penny, which is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, plays a role in how the coin has aged. Copper is a reactive metal, and its exposure to air and moisture can lead to various changes in tone and surface texture. The fact that this particular penny still shows a red shade speaks to a relatively stable preservation environment or careful handling. Preserving coins like the 1951D with a red shade involves keeping them in a dry, temperature-controlled environment, using coin holders or albums that do not contain PVC or other reactive chemicals. This helps prevent further oxidation and protects the surface from oils and contaminants. For coins already in red shade condition, extra care is often taken to avoid unnecessary handling or cleaning, as even gentle cleaning can strip away the original surface and reduce the coin's numismatic value. From a broader perspective, the 1951D penny is more than just a copper piece from a bygone decade. It is a small artifact that connects us to the day-to-day economic activities and social environments of Americans living in the early 1950s. This was a time when the country was moving forward after the challenges of World War II and beginning to see the rise of modern American culture. Children might have received this penny as part of their weekly allowance or used it in gumball machines and penny candy shops. Adults would have seen it frequently in their wallets and change purses, making it a constant and familiar part of life. The 1985p Washington quarter dollar is a circulating coin minted in Philadelphia and forms part of the long-running Washington quarter series. First introduced in 1930 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the Washington quarter has remained a consistent feature of United States coinage for decades. The 1985p quarter carries on this tradition, showcasing the same iconic design on the obverse and reverse that millions of Americans would instantly recognize. Despite its age and where this coin still plays an important role in American currency and holds meaning for collectors, especially those interested in date and mint mark sets or coins with historical context, the obverse of the 1985p quarter displays the left-facing portrait of George Washington designed by John Flanagan. This design was selected for its dignified representation of the nation's first president, and it has remained relatively unchanged since the coin's inception. Above Washington's head appears the word liberty, while the national motto "In God We Trust" is inscribed to the left. The year 1985 is positioned at the bottom of the coin, just beneath the bust. To the right of the date is the letter P, which indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The use of the P mint mark on quarters began in 1980, which makes the 1985p one of the earlier quarters to feature this particular designation. The reverse of the coin presents a bald eagle with outstretched wings standing firmly atop a bundle of arrows, symbolizing military readiness. Below the arrows are two olive branches that represent peace, a combination that reflects both strength and the desire for harmony. The words United States of America curve along the top of the coin, while the phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is situated just above the eagle's head. At the bottom of the reverse side is the coin's denomination, quarter dollar. This traditional design remained on the quarter until the introduction of the state quarter program in 1999. The 1985p Washington quarter is composed of a copper core, layered with a copper-nickel alloy, which gives it a bright silvery appearance. This clad composition was adopted in 1965 as a response to rising silver prices and has remained the standard for most circulating US coins since then. The result is a coin that is durable, long-lasting, and suitable for the wear and tear of everyday use. While it lacks any precious metal content, the coin remains functional and continues to be accepted in all financial transactions throughout the country. The condition of this particular 1985 p quarter is described as having some scratches, which is expected for a coin that has been in circulation for several decades. Scratches on circulated coins can range from small hairline marks to deeper abrasions caused by contact with other objects or coins. These marks are often found on the fields of the coin and sometimes across the high points, such as Washington's cheek on the obverse or the eagle's wings on the reverse. Although scratches can diminish the coin's visual appeal and collector value, they do not affect its ability to be used as currency. Despite these signs of where the major design elements of the coin typically remain clearly visible, Washington's facial features and hair detail, as well as the feathers and posture of the eagle on the reverse, are often still discernible even in moderately circulated coins. Collectors often categorize such coins as being in good or very good condition depending on the severity of the wear and the clarity of the details. However, coins with heavy scratches or damage beyond normal circulation marks may be classified as lower grade. Historically, the year 1985 was part of a decade marked by significant cultural, technological, and political developments in the United States. While there were no major changes to the U.S. coinage system, that year the demand for quarters remained strong as coins continued to play an important role in daily commerce. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the largest and oldest minting facilities in the country, produced millions of quarters during this time, ensuring that enough coins were in circulation to meet public demand. The P Mint mark on this quarter indicates its origin at the Philadelphia Mint, which does not produce proof coins, but focuses on regular strikes for everyday use. The minting process at Philadelphia ensures consistency and quality, although minor variations or imperfections can still occur. These might include slight misalignment or planchette flaws, but such issues are relatively rare and usually go unnoticed unless carefully inspected by a collector or numismatist. In terms of collectible value, a 1985 p quarter in circulated condition with scratches is generally worth its face value, which is 25 cents. However, for collectors who are assembling full sets of Washington quarters from each year and mint mark, this coin is still necessary to complete the series. Coins in uncirculated condition or with special characteristics such as doubling or die cracks may attract additional interest and command higher prices in the collector market. The 1930 for Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a historical coin from the early 20th century that continues to hold both historical and collectible value today. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which during that time typically did not include a mint mark on its coins, this penny represents an era of resilience and transition in the United States. The country was still grappling with the Great Depression in 1934, and the coin is a small but lasting artifact from a time when Americans faced serious economic hardship. Despite its relatively high mintage, the 1930 for Lincoln cent is treasured by collectors and enthusiasts because of its age, design, and connection to the nation's past. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 and featured the likeness of President Abraham Lincoln to honor his centennial birth year. On the obverse of the 1930 for Lincoln penny is the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His bust faces right and is accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust" along the top edge, "Liberty" on the left, and the date 1930 for on the right. Since this coin was struck in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark beneath the date. In circulated condition, many of the fine details, such as the lines in Lincoln's hair, his bow tie, and his facial features, may show signs of wear, but they are usually still visible to some degree. The general outline remains intact, allowing the coin to be easily identified by collectors and numismatists. Wear from years in pockets, purses, and cash drawers adds character to the coin and tells part of its story. The reversed side of the 1930 for Lincoln penny displays the classic wheat ears design, which was used from 1909 to 1958. This design consists of two stylized wheat stalks flanking the central inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above this is the motto E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. This simple and powerful design reinforces national unity and agricultural strength while also paying homage to the American working class. In circulated condition, the wheat stalks may be worn down and the fields of the coin may show some discoloration or smoothing due to age and handling. However, even with such wear, the design typically remains recognizable and provides a sense of continuity with coins from earlier and later years in the wheat penny series. The year 1934 was significant in American history. It was a time when the country was in the midst of recovering from the Great Depression following the 1929 stock market crash. President Franklin D. Roosevelt was actively implementing the New Deal, a series of programs and reforms aimed at stabilizing the economy and providing jobs. Coins like the 1930 for penny would have passed through countless hands during this period, playing a role in daily commerce from buying bread to paying for public transportation. Their wide circulation gives them a special place in the lives of ordinary Americans and adds historical significance to even the most worn examples. The composition of the 1930 for penny is primarily copper with small amounts of tin and zinc, which was the standard alloy for cents during that era. As a result, the coin has a distinctive reddish-brown or dark brown color depending on how it was stored or used over the decades. In circulated condition, the coin may show some uneven coloring, slight corrosion, or darkening, especially if it was exposed to moisture or other environmental factors. Despite this natural aging, the coin retains its identity and appeal to those who appreciate older American coinage. Though the 1930 for penny is not considered rare due to its high production numbers, it still serves as a valuable piece in a complete Lincoln cent collection. For many collectors, assembling a date and mint-marked set of Lincoln wheat pennies is a rewarding goal, and coins like the 1930 for issue are necessary parts of that journey. The availability of these coins in various conditions also makes them accessible to beginner collectors while still offering interest for more advanced numismatists who seek well-preserved or unique examples. In terms of physical handling, circulated coins like this one may have some small scratches, nicks, or dings from years of use. These marks do not necessarily detract from the value for most collectors who appreciate the authenticity of a coin that has been part of everyday life for nearly a century. Many people who come across a 1930 for penny may not initially realize its age and history, yet upon closer inspection it becomes clear that this small copper coin has witnessed generations of American change, growth, and challenge. Collectors also appreciate coins like this for educational purposes. A 1930 for Lincoln wheat penny can serve as a teaching tool for young people or those new to coin collecting by introducing them to key aspects of numismatics, such as grading, mint marks, history, design elements, and metal composition. The simplicity and accessibility of this coin make it a valuable piece for passing down knowledge and sparking curiosity about American history and money. Next up, we have the 1980 for P Washington quarter dollar is a standard issue coin from the United States Mint that holds both historical significance and practical value in daily commerce. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint as indicated by the P Mint mark, and it is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932, designed to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the nation's first president. The Washington quarter has become a recognizable symbol of American coinage over the decades. The 1980 for version continues the classic design that has endured through the years and remains a common find in circulation even today. On the obverse side of the 1980 for P quarter is a left-facing portrait of George Washington, originally created by sculptor John Flanagan. The design is simple yet dignified, reflecting the leadership and legacy of Washington. Above his head is the word liberty, while the phrase "in God we trust" appears to the left. The date 1984 is inscribed below Washington's image, and the small p mint mark is located to the right of the bow in Washington's hair. This mint mark signifies that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the first United States mint and remains a major producer of circulating coins. The reverse side of the coin continues with the familiar design that was used throughout the series until the state quarters were introduced in 1999. It features a majestic bald eagle with wings spread perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing readiness and defense. Beneath the eagle is a pair of olive branches, which represent peace and balance, the symbolism of strength, with a desire for harmony. Encircling the top edge of the reverse is the inscription United States of America with the motto E pluribus unum directly above the eagle. The denomination quarter dollar is written along the bottom of the reverse side. The coin is made of a copper core with outer layers of copper and nickel, giving it a silvery appearance without any actual silver content. This composition was introduced in 1965 as a cost-saving measure to replace the 90% silver coins that had previously been in circulation. As a result, the 1984 P quarter does not have intrinsic metal value above its face value, but it remains durable and resistant to corrosion, making it suitable for long-term use in commerce. The circulated condition of this particular 1984 P quarter indicates that it has been used in everyday transactions and shows typical signs of wear. Over time, circulated coins can develop smoothing on the high points of the design, such as Washington's cheek and hair on the obverse or the feathers and arrows on the reverse. These areas often lose detail due to friction with other coins and surfaces. The coin might also have small nicks or scratches and a general dulling of its original mint luster, which is common for coins that have been handled frequently. Despite the wear associated with circulation, the coin still retains its historical and collectible interest, especially for those assembling date and mint mark collections. While circulated coins may not have the same visual appeal as uncirculated or proof examples, they provide a tangible connection to the past and offer insight into the everyday monetary system of the era. Every circulated coin has a unique history, having passed through the hands of countless individuals and played a part in daily life, whether used in a cash register, a vending machine, or for making change. The 1980s were a period of economic change and cultural development in the United States, and coins from this era reflect a stable currency system during that time. The production of the 1984 P quarter helped ensure a consistent supply of small denomination coins for the American economy. With tens of millions of these coins minted, they remain widely available today, although those in higher grades are more sought after by collectors. In the context of collecting circulated coins, like the 1984 P quarter, many collectors value them as part of a complete series or for their role in representing a specific time and history. While they are not considered rare or high in numismatic value in their circulated state, they are often appreciated for their accessibility and the story they tell through their condition and age. Some collectors also find interest in coins that show unique signs of wear or circulation, as these characteristics make each coin distinct. Coins like this also serve an educational role, offering insight into the design process, minting technology, and economic history of the United States. Observing the changes in mint mark's metal composition and design over time helps collectors and historians understand broader trends and decisions made by the United States Mint. The continuation of the Washington quarter design for over 6 decades before the state quarters program began reflects the public's attachment to tradition and national symbols. The Philadelphia Mint, where this coin was produced, is known for its high output of circulating coins. Unlike proof coins, which are made with special dies and processes for collectors, circulated coins like the 1984 P quarter are struck quickly in high volumes and distributed to banks and businesses for everyday use, while errors or unusual variations can occur during the minting process. Such instances are rare and can add value when discovered by careful collectors. Next up we have The 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is a copper coin minted in San Francisco during a significant period in American history. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 and continued the legacy of featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. The Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to bear the likeness of an actual American president, and its introduction marked a new era in coin design and national symbolism. The 1941 penny comes from a time when the United States was emerging from the Great Depression and just before it officially entered World War II. As such, this coin carries with it the legacy of resilience industry and the steady rhythm of everyday life in early 1940s America. The obverse side of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this portrait has been a defining element of American coinage for over a century. The design includes the inscription, "In God We Trust," above Lincoln's head, liberty to the left, and the date 1941 to the right. Just below the date, the small letter S is clearly visible, indicating that this coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. In good condition, the coin shows signs of wear from circulation, but the major design features, such as Lincoln's face, the date, and the mint mark, remain clearly visible. Although the finer details like the lines in Lincoln's hair and the texture in his coat may have softened with time and handling, the overall look of the coin remains strong and dignified. The reverse side of the 1941 wheat penny displays the classic wheat ears design, which was in use from 1909 until 1958. This reverse features two stylized wheat stalks, one on each side of the coin, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above these central inscriptions appears the national motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. In good condition, the wheat stalks and lettering are still readable, though some areas may show wear and smoothing. Despite this, the design's balance and symbolism remain clear. The wheat ears represent agricultural prosperity and the hard work of American farmers, which is a tribute to the backbone of the nation's economy during the time the coin was minted. The historical background of this coin adds even more significance. In 1941, the United States was preparing for potential involvement in World War II, although the attack on Pearl Harbor had not yet occurred. The American economy was beginning to shift toward war production, and citizens were adapting to new realities. The 1941 penny circulated in an era when every cent mattered, and coins like this one were used for purchasing daily necessities from newspapers and candy to bread and milk. This penny may have passed through many hands, perhaps those of a soldier preparing to ship out, a factory worker making supplies, or a child saving coins in a small jar. The composition of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is primarily copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. This alloy was standard for cents before the wartime shift in 1943, when the mint temporarily changed to a zinc-coated steel composition to save copper for the war effort. The reddish-brown color of the 1941 penny is typical of pre-war copper cents, and over time its appearance may have darkened or changed depending on how it was stored and handled. A coin in good condition may have some surface dullness, minor discoloration, or small nicks, but retains enough detail and structure to be considered collectible. In terms of mintage, the San Francisco Mint produced a substantial number of these pennies. This makes the 1941 coin relatively common in the world of coin collecting, especially in circulated grades. However, the age and historical context still make it appealing to collectors, particularly those seeking to complete a full Lincoln cent collection by year and mint mark. A coin in good condition may not fetch a high price on the numismatic market, but its value lies in its authenticity and its story. Collectors often use circulated coins like this to build educational sets, share history with others, or compare different mint marks and wear patterns. The mint mark is an important detail for many collectors, as coins from the San Francisco Mint were typically produced in smaller quantities compared to those from Philadelphia or Denver. Even in good condition, the presence of the mint mark adds interest and distinction to the coin. The texture of a circulated coin like the 1941 penny adds to its character. Handling from decades of use has softened some of its sharper features, but has also imparted a natural patina that reflects its journey through time. Each small dent, scratch, or worn edge is part of the story and part of what makes the coin unique. Collectors value such coins not just for their technical specifications, but also for the connection they offer to everyday life in the past. Many collectors and history enthusiasts find joy in holding coins like the 1941 penny because they serve as physical links to a different era. Unlike digital records or photographs, a coin is something that was actively used and handled. It was part of real transactions and may have traveled across cities and states over its lifetime. The fact that this coin still exists in good condition after more than 8 decades is a testament to its durability and the respect with which collectors and everyday users alike have treated it. Next up we have the 1991 Washington quarter dollar is a standard issue coin that forms part of the long-standing Washington quarter series, which began in 1932. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint as indicated by the D-Mint mark placed just to the right of the bow in George Washington's hair on the obverse side of the coin. The Washington quarter was originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over time, became a staple of American coinage used daily by millions across the country. The 1991 edition continues this legacy, featuring the traditional design elements that had been in place for several decades. The obverse of the 1991 quarter features a detailed left-facing profile of George Washington, which was designed by John Flanagan. This image of Washington is widely recognized and iconic, representing leadership, integrity, and the founding ideals of the United States. Above the image is the word liberty, while the motto "In God We Trust" appears to the left of Washington's profile. Below his chin is the date 1991, clearly indicating the year of minting. The D-Mint mark confirming its production at the Denver Mint is a small yet important detail for collectors and enthusiasts interested in tracking the origins of their coins. On the reverse side of the coin is the classic image of a bald eagle, with outstretched wings clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons. Just below the eagle are 2 olive branches that form a semicircle framing the lower part of the design. This combination of arrows and olive branches symbolizes the balance between peace and readiness for defense. At the top of the coin is the inscription "United States of America," and just below it is the national motto "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many one." At the bottom, the denomination quarter dollar is clearly stated. This design remained unchanged for many decades and became one of the most familiar reverse images in American coin history until it was replaced by the State Quarters series in 1999. The coin is composed of a copper core with a cupronickel outer layer, giving it a silver-colored appearance. This clad composition was introduced in 1965 when the United States Mint transitioned away from using silver in its circulating coins due to rising costs. As such, the 1991 quarter does not contain any silver content and is primarily of face value in circulated condition. Its composition makes it durable and long-lasting, ensuring it could remain in circulation for many years, even with regular handling. This specific coin has been noted to have some scratches, which are typical signs of wear for coins that have been in circulation for several years or even decades. Scratches may appear as light lines across the surface caused by contact with other coins, surfaces, or objects. They can vary in depth and visibility, but generally do not obscure the key design elements of the coin unless they are severe. In the case of this 1991 quarter, while scratches are present, the coin still retains much of its original detail and serves as a functional piece of currency. In terms of collectability, a 1991 quarter in circulated condition with scratches is considered common and typically holds only face value unless it exhibits unusual features such as die errors or is in exceptionally high grade. However, for those who enjoy assembling complete sets of Washington quarters by year and mint mark, this coin remains an essential piece. The coin offers insight into the continued production standards of the United States Mint in the early 1990s, a time of relative economic stability and modernization in coin manufacturing. The Denver Mint is one of the most productive facilities in the country and has a long history of striking coins for everyday use. In 1991, the Mint produced millions of Washington quarters to meet the needs of commerce. Coins like this were distributed widely through banks and businesses and were part of countless transactions in stores, vending machines, toll booths, and more. As such, they hold a certain historical value reflecting everyday economic activity and the continued reliance on physical currency. Coins with signs of circulation, such as scratches, often tell a subtle story about their journey through the economy. Each mark or imperfection might represent countless exchanges and uses across the years. While not pristine, such coins appeal to collectors who appreciate the character and history carried in well-used examples. They are also a reminder of the role coins continue to play in a digital age where cash is becoming less common, but still relevant for many. The Washington quarter as a series is one of the most collected among numismatists due to its long production run and the variety of designs introduced over the years, especially after the state quarters program began in 1999. However, coins like the 1991 D quarter represent the final years of the original eagle reverse design and are often sought after by those building typesets or interested in preserving examples from each mint and year. Even with surface scratches, the 1991 D Washington quarter remains a piece of functioning currency and a small artifact of American monetary history. It is part of the broader narrative of coin design usage and the evolving relationship people have with physical money. Whether kept as part of a personal collection or passed down as a keepsake, it continues to hold meaning beyond its face value, symbolizing a time when coins like it were more heavily relied upon for everyday purchases. Next up, we have the 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is a copper 1-cent coin that carries with it a long legacy of American coinage. This penny is part of the famous Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side. This coin design was the first time in United States history that a real person appeared on a regular issue circulating coin. The 1956 penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark for coins during that time. This means that the absence of a mint mark indicates it was produced in Philadelphia. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat penny reflects a period of American history marked by post-war economic growth, the spread of suburban life, and the beginning of the modern civil rights movement. This coin would have been used in a time when the United States was experiencing significant change socially and economically. As a circulated coin, the 1956 penny shows signs of having been used in day-to-day transactions over many years. The surfaces of the coin may exhibit wear and tear from handling, passing through hands and cash registers over decades. Details in Lincoln's hair and facial features may be worn down, and some lettering or date numerals might be less sharp than they originally were. Despite its circulation, the 1956 Lincoln penny still holds numismatic and historical value. Its reverse side displays the iconic wheat ears design, also created by Brenner. This reverse features two stalks of wheat, one on each side curving inward to frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above the main lettering is the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. The wheat ears design was in use from 1909 until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This makes the 1956 Wheat penny one of the final issues with this classic design. In terms of composition, the 1956 Lincoln penny is made primarily of copper with a small amount of tin and zinc. This metal composition was standard for the Lincoln Cent before the major change in 1982, when the composition shifted to a zinc core with a thin copper coating due to rising copper costs. The high copper content of the 1956 penny gives it a reddish-brown hue when preserved well, although in circulated condition it may appear darker due to oxidation, exposure, and handling. From a production standpoint, the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins in 1956, making them relatively common. Because of their large mintage and general availability, circulated examples like this are not rare, but they are still appreciated by collectors, especially those interested in building a full-date set of wheat pennies. The affordability and accessibility of this coin make it a popular choice for new collectors who want to start with classic American coinage that tells a story about everyday life in mid-20th century America. A circulated 1956 Lincoln wheat penny might show various signs of aging, including surface scratches, worn edges, and possibly minor discoloration or toning. These characteristics are typical for coins that have been in public use for decades. While this diminishes the coin's condition from a grading standpoint, it adds character and authenticity that many collectors find appealing. A circulated coin also serves as a tangible reminder of how coins were used regularly to buy food, clothing, and other essentials in the mid-1900s. It connects us to a time when 1 cent had more purchasing power and was a meaningful part of daily commerce. Collectors often categorize coins like this into several condition grades, such as good, very good, fine, or very fine, depending on the amount of visible detail remaining. A 1956 penny in circulated condition typically falls within these lower or middle grades. Even so, the coin retains its full historical identity. The year 1956 saw a world in transition, with events like the early days of the space race, the growth of television, and changes in music culture. A penny from that year carries with it not just monetary value, but cultural and historical weight. It is also worth noting that coins without mint marks from the 1950s, especially those in circulated condition, offer collectors a way to appreciate the breadth of the Lincoln Cent series without needing to spend large sums of money. A 1956 penny in circulated condition can be an important educational tool showing the effects of time and handling on metal surfaces and how minting techniques have changed. It also helps collectors understand the broader economic landscape of the United States during the Eisenhower presidency, when coins like this were produced in vast quantities for a growing population. From an aesthetic perspective, a circulated 1956 penny may still be pleasing to the eye with a warm copper tone and recognizable design elements. Though not sharp like a mint-state coin, it tells a story through its imperfections. These imperfections, such as worn fields, smoothed edges, or a dull finish, represent the journey of a coin that was once part of everyday life. Perhaps it was carried in a child's pocket, collected in a piggy bank, spent at a corner store, or passed through generations as a keepsake. Next up we have the 1995 Washington quarter dollar is a widely circulated coin that is part of the enduring Washington quarter series, first introduced in 1932. This particular quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by the small d mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin to the right of George Washington's ponytail. The Washington quarter series has played a vital role in United States coinage history, and it remains one of the most recognizable coins still in circulation. With a rich history, a durable composition, and consistent design elements through decades, the 1995 quarter carries both everyday utility and historical significance. On the obverse side of the 1995 Washington quarter is the familiar left-facing profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This design was created by John Flanagan and has appeared on the quarter since its debut in 1932. The word liberty appears prominently above Washington's head, symbolizing the foundational American value that the coin and the man it honors represent. The phrase "In God We Trust" is inscribed to the left of his profile, while the year 1995 is clearly displayed at the bottom. The D-mint mark is small but critical for identifying the origin of the coin and is found to the right of Washington's neck. The reverse of the coin maintains the classic image that was used from 1932 until the introduction of the state quarters program in 1999. This side features a bold and majestic bald eagle, with its wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows. The eagle symbolizes strength and vigilance. Below the eagle are two olive branches that curve upward, representing peace. The top of the coin reads United States of America, and just beneath it is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. At the bottom, the denomination quarter dollar is inscribed. The symmetry and symbolism in this design were meant to reflect the strength and unity of the United States. The 1995 D Washington quarter is made from a copper nickel-clad composition, which became standard in 1965 after the U.S. Mint moved away from using silver in most circulating coins. This clad composition consists of a copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. It provides the coin with a silver-like appearance and durability that can withstand decades of circulation. The standard weight of the quarter is 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.26 millimeters and a reeded edge that adds to its texture and helps deter counterfeiting. This particular coin is described as being in circulated condition, which means it has been used in everyday transactions and shows signs of wear from handling over time. Circulated coins often bear evidence of their long journey through pockets, cash registers, vending machines, and wallets. These signs may include duller surfaces, worn details, minor scratches, and a general lack of the original mint luster that characterizes uncirculated coins. Despite the wear, most circulated quarters still retain the full design and remain completely functional as currency. The Denver Mint, where this coin was produced, has a long history of minting coins for the United States and is known for its high volume of production. In 1995, millions of Washington quarters were minted in Denver alone. As such, the 1995 D quarter is relatively common and is usually valued at face value in circulated condition unless it possesses a rare error or is found in exceptional condition. Collectors who specialize in Washington quarters often seek examples from each year and mint location, and while the 1995 D may not be considered rare, it still holds value for those building complete sets. It represents one of the last few years before the Washington quarter saw a major change with the introduction of the state quarters program in 1999, which replaced the eagle reverse with designs representing each of the 50 states. As such, quarters from the early to mid-1990s have a certain nostalgic appeal to collectors who remember the uniform design that had been in place for over 60 years. Coins like the 1995 D quarter also serve as everyday historical artifacts. They provide a physical connection to a specific time in American history and reflect the design choices, production standards, and monetary needs of that era. Holding a circulated coin from 1995 may remind some people of the mid-1990s American life when physical currency was more commonly used for daily transactions compared to the increasing digital payments seen today. While a circulated 1995 D quarter may not command high monetary value in the numismatic market, it still holds significance for several reasons. For educators, it can be a helpful tool in teaching coin recognition, mint mark locations, and basic economic history. For collectors, it can serve as a piece to complete a larger set or simply as a nostalgic item, and for anyone who simply finds such a coin in their change, it serves its fundamental purpose as legal tender that continues to be accepted for goods and services. Next up we have the 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny is a 1-cent coin that was minted at the Denver Mint as indicated by the D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. This penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 and is one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner and it features the right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This design marked a significant departure from previous United States coinage as it was the first time actual historical figure appeared on a regular issue U.S. coin. The obverse side of the 1953 D penny includes the portrait of Lincoln along with the words "In God We Trust" at the top, liberty to the left of the portrait, and the year 1953 with the D mint mark to the right. On the reverse side, the coin carries the classic wheat ears design, which was used from 1909 through 1958. This side features the words 1 cent and United States of America in the center, framed by two stylized stalks of wheat on either side. The motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is inscribed at the top. The wheat reverse is one of the most recognized and beloved designs in American coinage history, and collectors appreciate its elegant simplicity and historical context. The 1953 D penny was struck from a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was standard for Lincoln cents of this era. This high copper content gives the coin its distinct reddish hue, although this can darken or change with age, circulation, and environmental exposure. In circulated condition, this coin often shows signs of wear, such as reduced detail on Lincoln's hair and the wheat ears, as well as surface imperfections including nick scratches or discoloration. In the case of the 1953 D penny described as having dots on its surface, this condition detail may point to specific types of wear or aging. Dots on a coin can be the result of various factors, including contact with other objects, corrosion spots due to moisture buildup, exposure to chemicals or residues left over time from storage in poor environments. These spots do not typically affect the basic identification of the coin, but they do play a role in grading and may reduce the overall eye appeal for collectors. However, in numismatics, such imperfections can sometimes add to the character of a coin, especially for those interested in coins that tell a story through their physical condition. Over 700 million of the 1953 D Lincoln wheat pennies were minted, making it a common coin in terms of availability. This large mintage number means that even in circulated condition, the coin is relatively easy to find. Despite this, it still holds collectible interest, especially when it retains most of its original detail and coloration. Coins like the 1953 D penny offer collectors the opportunity to own a tangible piece of mid-20th century American history without a high-cost barrier. It represents an era of post-war optimism when the country was undergoing economic expansion, cultural shifts, and technological progress. While the condition of the coin described as having dots suggests some surface imperfections, it is important to consider the overall wear pattern. If the lettering and date are still legible and the design details are mostly intact, the coin would still fall within the range of good to fine on most grading scales. These grades take into account the amount of detail that remains visible, as well as the severity and location of any blemishes or marks. Collectors often accept imperfections in older circulated coins because they reflect the journey of the coin from mint to pocket and beyond. The 1953 D penny was produced during the presidency of Dwight D. Eisenhower, a time when the United States was cementing its role as a global leader. The coin circulated through a society that was building new suburbs, buying cars and televisions, and experiencing the early days of rock and roll. It may have been used to buy candy, newspapers, or bus fare in an era when a cent had much more buying power than it does today. This penny, in a sense, connects us directly with the lives and everyday purchases of Americans from over 70 years ago. For coin collectors, a 1953 D penny with dots or other visible features might not be considered a high-grade example, but it still holds value in terms of history, education, and collecting interest. Some collectors specifically seek out coins in varied conditions to show the range of appearances and effects of circulation. This approach helps to build a more complete and realistic collection, rather than one that only includes pristine, uncirculated examples. Storage and preservation are important factors that affect coins like this over time. Exposure to humidity, air pollutants, or acids from human skin can contribute to spotting and other surface issues. While it is difficult to reverse such damage once it has occurred, future care can help prevent further deterioration. Proper storage in acid-free holders and a stable environment with low humidity can protect similar coins from developing additional flaws.